Hello again, Geo students. This is your tutorial for the Weber assignment. You should have watched the video of the notes being narrated to you where Weber's theory of production was introduced to you. To build on that, here is a set of illustrations and an article talking to you about Weber's least cost theory. Now, what I've done for you to help you sift through this article is I have numbered the paragraphs for you, and I've highlighted certain information that is important for you to help answer the comprehension questions that are provided for you after this article. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down to that. You can see there's 17 paragraphs in the reading. The first 11 questions are just comprehension questions for you, and what I've done is listed the number of the paragraph where you can find the answer, as well as the color of the highlight that you should be looking for. There are some paragraphs that contain information that will answer multiple questions, which is why some of them are in different colors. So use that process to answer 1 through 11. For example, number 1, what does Weber's theory attempt to explain? Go back up to paragraph 1, and you can see what's highlighted. It's to describe the industrial location of certain industries, or in other words, where to build a factory. I want to take a couple of minutes to talk about what I think are the two most important questions of the activity is your application of Weber's theory to putting an actual factory somewhere, locating it in the U.S. So we're going to use what we've learned from the reading and the map of the United States to answer the following questions. The map of the U.S. I provided for you after the questions, so we'll go down to that in a minute. It says we are looking for a place to build a factory that makes furniture. The wood for the furniture comes from Portland, the paint comes from Salt Lake City, and the biggest market where we sell our furniture is San Francisco, California. So the first thing we have to decide is our furniture factory, is it part of a weight gaining or bulk gaining or weight reducing? In the notes it was bulk reducing industry. When we think of furniture, if furniture comes from trees are very large, they're expensive to transport, and the furniture makes those trees smaller in size when the product is completed. So it is a weight reducing or bulk reducing industry. So since we're determining it's a bulk reducing industry, in the diagrams that you've been provided, it lists, and I'm going to use this one, which is a weight reducing, it gives an example of, here's one raw material, here's another raw material, so two items like, say, trees and paint. Here's a market like San Francisco. They're saying the production point or the factory should be built closer to the raw materials. But with paint and wood, we have to think, well, yeah, wood's pretty heavy to transport and get smaller in size. Paint, not really. So paint's pretty light, and that's where in this article it talks about, well, some raw materials are heavy, others are light, so that's called the brick bunny. And what we're saying is some of the materials are heavy, some are light, and the end result is still kind of heavy, right? Because furniture is not small. So really we're looking at this diagram where we have Portland is one raw material, it's got the trees. Salt Lake City is another raw material, it has the paint. San Francisco is the market. And so for number 12, using this diagram, it's showing us that the factory should be between Portland and San Francisco and can be further away from Salt Lake City. So if we go to the map of the United States and we draw a triangle between Portland, Salt Lake City, and San Francisco, go down to the US map and do that. Portland's here, San Francisco's here, Salt Lake City's here. Draw a triangle. This is raw material, according to that diagram, raw material 1. This is raw material number 2, the paint. This is the market. It said that we should probably put the point somewhere over in this region. So find a city that's somewhere over there. And that's your answer. In number 13, you're looking for a place to build your computer factory. You have microchips that are coming from San Jose, California. You have electrical components that are coming from St. Paul, Minnesota. Your biggest market is Atlanta, Georgia. So now make the determination. Is this a weight gaining or weight reducing industry? Are the computers getting smaller in size as they are adding components and microchips together, or are they getting larger? Well, you should think that it's a weight gaining, right? The computer console itself is bigger than the chips and the components itself. So since it's bulk gaining or weight gaining, we should look to the diagram that shows a weight gaining industry. So we have San Jose is the raw material one. It's got microchips. St. Paul, the electrical components, raw material two. Atlanta, the market. The diagram showing us the best place to build. It's going to be closer to Atlanta and fairly equally in between San Jose and St. Paul. Doesn't need to be exact because there might not be a good place to build there, but okay, get the idea. Closer to Atlanta, kind of halfway between San Jose and St. Paul. So on the map, San Jose is here. St. Paul here. Atlanta here. Triangle, and we said it should be closer to Atlanta. So you're trying to find somewhere probably in there would be a good spot to be assembling those computers. So make your decision. And as long as it's in that range, you should be good. The other thing that I want to point out, along with the Weber article, is there is your level 2 vocabulary reading. So it says scroll down to read about Reebok tennis shoes and manufactured in the U.S. We had mentioned before in the notes that a lot of manufacturing jobs were leaving more developed countries, but at the end we talked about how on-time delivery is becoming more and more important. And so this article from a couple years ago talks about Reebok shoes and how they've taken a step towards reducing the need for foreign suppliers of products and how they're reopening shoe factories in the United States. So as you read through the article, there are some terms that we want you to give quick definitions of, like you've done before. Those are highlighted for you. In other words, you're replacing that word with a phrase or a word that still is going to allow that sentence to mean the same thing as before. For example, it says the factory near Atlanta will be mostly automated but employ at least 50 people. Automation is work done by machines or robots. So the factory near Atlanta will be mostly worked by machines, but employ at least 150 people. And so your quick definition for automated would be work by machines. You have a couple of quick comprehension questions to answer, multiple choice. And then you have those quick vocab words to fill out. So that is your Weber and Reebok article. Good luck. Feel free to message me or drop in a Google Meet if you need help.